We look at South Korean biotech shares. They're, trading at 80 times forward earnings. A bubble may be bursting.
Well, I can't. I don't think anyone can really call when this there's going to be a burst in the bubble. The momentum has been pretty strong, and with the short selling ban for temporarily banned by the Korean government, it is quite difficult to know, and we're not actually saying that the bubble is going to burst, and we're not short sellers, so we don't really benefit from this anything. What I'm just worried about is that general expansion of the valuation in the Korean healthcare sector has been somewhat somewhat concerning. So. And the premise of the COVID-19 stocks going up, logically, I think it's quite stretched, because if all the COVID-19 treatment manufacturers do succeed, then that would mean that there's not going to be a lot of outsized profit for any specific company. On the other hand, if just one or two or very few companies succeed in this treatment or vaccines, then probably the rest of the other companies might see downward pressure in their valuation. So to us, it seems the valuation is certainly baking in a lot of hopes, and we just wanted to tell that it's time to be a little bit more cautious on these stocks.
Valuations aside, though, there's a lot of money sloshing around, and suddenly moms and dads coming into play, supporting these biotech companies. We had SK Biopharmaceuticals soaring 160% in its debut recently. Surely there's plenty more to run.
Yeah, it's the money flow and the momentum following that money flow. It's it can certainly continue to go on, and we've seen all this in other sectors to some extent as well. The internet and mobile platform companies have been really surging over the last few days, and also EV-related names have been doing really well. It's just that we're seeing such a big polarization in the Korean market. All the other sectors, that are not included in those three main categories have now been, I think, suffering greatly. So, and some of these other companies do also have, quite good fundamental momentum. So, this enlarging polarization is something as an investor should be mindful. And also perhaps, you would want to take a look at the other side of the momentum.
And James, regulators did during when the coronavirus was at the worst, they did ban short selling for up to 6 months. Come September, is that what's really going to break the straw that breaks the camel's back? Is that what's going to trigger a correction in some of these healthcare stocks?
At this point, that is a uncertainty, but I think the likelihood of delaying the short selling is, higher. If they do resume, short selling, then perhaps, that would certainly work as pressure toward these very highly valued stocks. But in the near term, I think the probability is higher on extending the short selling ban. But it doesn't have to be that short selling ban. Certainly, if we see one or two other success cases from outside of Korea in COVID-19 treatment, or if we see quite slowdown in the death rate related to the COVID-19, then perhaps the excitement over COVID-19 treatment can also die down. So perhaps that's another factor to consider.
Talk to me about corporate governance as well, James, because you hear it a lot. There's that Korea discount. It's a cheap market, but it's just difficult to find companies with really robust corporate governance. Where do you see this push for activism in South Korea getting traction now?
Well, I think the main thing is that we certainly see some of these, large chaebol companies, and a few of them, are actually changing their behavior. So that's a very positive, phenomena that we're observing, and we don't think, the market is giving enough credit to that change. Actually, the conglomerate discount in Korea has widened to historical levels. Whereas, some of these companies, in terms of, paying out dividends, unlocking value through, IPOs, and buying back shares, and, having more independence in the board. So those changes are starting to happen in some of a few select Korean chaebol companies. So in the long scheme of things, I think, that's an area that the investors might want to, keep an eye on.